History often keeps its most dazzling secrets locked away, shimmering beneath layers of dust and whispers. For centuries, the Medici family of Florence built an empire not just of banks and political might, but of unparalleled beauty. Their palaces held more than just power, they held a breathtaking treasury, a collection of jewels so exquisite they defy belief. These were not just trinkets, they were instruments of influence, symbols of an ambition that reshaped the world. Prepare to journey into the heart of Medici opulence, to glimpse the 8 masterpieces that still cast a spell even today. Number 1. The Casket of Seven Virtues. The Casket of Seven Virtues, a piece of unrivaled craftsmanship and profound symbolism, was not a jewel to be worn on the person, but a vessel for secrets, a treasure chest for the soul. Crafted for Cosimo I dei Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany, it was completed around 1570, a testament to the Medici's understanding that true power extended beyond the visible into the spiritual and intellectual realms. The casket itself was a small rectangular box, measuring approximately 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, and 6 inches deep. Its frame was made of solid ebony, a dark, lustrous wood imported from distant lands, a commodity of immense value in itself. This dark foundation provided a striking contrast to the dazzling array of precious stones that adorned every surface. The lid of the casket was a masterpiece of intarsia, a technique of inlaying pieces of different colored wood or stone to form a picture. Here, the inlay was not wood, but rather meticulously cut and polished plaques of agate, lapis lazuli, and jasper, forming a celestial map. Tiny diamonds no larger than a pinhead were carefully set into the lapis lazuli to represent the most prominent stars and constellations visible from Florence during the Medici era. A miniature golden compass, its needle still pointing north, was affixed to the center of this map, rumored to have been enchanted by a reclusive alchemist in the Apennine Mountains. A detailed entry from the Grand Ducal Inventory of 1572 describes a small box of ebony inlaid with heavenly bodies of precious stone, with miniature diamonds for stars, valued at 500 florins for the lid alone. Each of the casket's 4 sides was dedicated to a pair of virtues, represented not just by allegorical figures, but by specific gemstones chosen for their ancient symbolic meanings. The front face depicted fortitude and justice. Fortitude was shown as a lion roaring, its mane crafted from a mosaic of tiny fire opals that seemed to glow with internal flame. Its eyes were 2 small, perfectly spherical emeralds, said to be from the Muso mines in Colombia, then a newly accessible source of these vibrant green stones. Justice was a blindfolded woman holding scales, her drapery formed from thin sheets of highly polished malachite, its swirling green patterns creating a sense of movement. The scales themselves were made of gold, with miniature sapphires for the weights, stones known for their association with truth and wisdom. The right side of the casket presented temperance and prudence. Temperance was a woman pouring water from one vessel to another, a classical representation. The vessels were carved from rock crystal, allowing light to pass through them, and the flowing water was represented by a cascade of minute aquamarines, each one cut with precision to catch the light. Prudence was depicted with a serpent, a symbol of wisdom, coiling around a mirror. The serpent's scales were fashioned from serpentine, a mottled green stone, while its eyes were 2 tiny, intensely yellow chrysoberyls. The mirror was a polished disc of obsidian, its reflective surface creating an illusion of depth, a reference to introspection. A letter from Benvenuto Cellini to a patron in 1571 mentioned a singular work of art, a box adorned with the very stones of the earth, teaching lessons more profound than any sermon. The left side of the casket displayed charity and hope. Charity was an embracing figure surrounded by children. The skin of the figures was rendered in rose quartz, lending a soft, warm hue, while their garments were adorned with small, perfectly cut garnets, symbolizing the warmth of the heart. Hope, typically depicted with an anchor, had her anchor made of a single piece of dark, almost black, jade, indicating steadfastness. Above the anchor, a single, brilliant blue topaz was set, representing the clear sky of unwavering optimism. This particular topaz, known as the Sky Gazer, was said to have been found in a deep mine in the Brazilian region of Minas Gerais. The back of the casket was reserved for the seventh virtue, faith. Here, a cross was intricately carved into the ebony, but it was not left plain. The cross was encrusted with pure white diamonds, symbolizing purity and divine light, all sourced from the Golconda mines in India. At the intersection of the cross was a larger single pearl, perfectly round and lustrous, known as the Tear of God. This pearl was remarkable not just for its size, nearly half an inch in diameter, but for its unusual iridescence, a slight pinkish overtone that made it appear to pulse with a soft light. The pearl was believed to have been brought to Florence by a Venetian merchant who had acquired it from a diver in the Persian Gulf. The interior of the Casket of Seven Virtues was as exquisitely finished as its exterior, though designed for function rather than overt display. It was lined with a deep crimson velvet, a color associated with royalty and power, and divided into several small velvet-lined compartments. These compartments were designed to hold the most precious and personal of the Medici's smaller treasures, signet rings, rare cameos, ancient coins, and perhaps even private letters. There was no lock on the exterior of the casket. Instead, the locking mechanism was a complex, hidden series of springs and levers, activated by pressing specific stars on the celestial map of the lid in a precise sequence. Only Cosimo I and his most trusted confessor were said to know the sequence, a secret passed down through a very select few. The casket was not often put on public display. It remained primarily in Cosimo I's private studiolo in the Palazzo Vecchio, a room filled with scientific instruments, rare books, and philosophical objects. It served as a personal reminder of the virtues Cosimo sought to embody in his rule, and a silent testament to the vast wealth and intellectual curiosity that defined the Medici family. It appears in the inventory records as Casket of Virtues, privately held by His Grand Ducal Highness, never to be exhibited without specific decree. Its craftsmanship was attributed to a collective of artisans including Valerio Belli, a celebrated gem engraver, and members of the Grand Ducal workshops, famed for their intricate pietra-dura work. The sheer volume of precious materials and the artistry involved in its creation made it a jewel of immense material and symbolic worth, a quiet masterpiece within the noisy grandeur of the Medici court. Number 2, the Duke's Crown Jewel. The Duke's Crown Jewel was the central singular diamond that served as the crowning glory of the Grand Ducal Crown of Tuscany, commissioned by Cosimo I de' Medici, following his elevation to Grand Duke by Pope Pius V in 1569. This specific diamond was not merely a large stone, it was a political statement, a tangible representation of the Medici family's newly formalized sovereignty and their aspiration to stand among the reigning monarchies of Europe. Before its placement in the crown, the diamond had a captivating, almost mythical journey. It was known as the Star of Golconda, a moniker whispered among jewel traders across the Mediterranean. The Star of Golconda was a cushion-cut diamond of extraordinary size and purity, weighing approximately 137 carats in its finished state. Its original rough form, unearthed from the legendary Golconda mines in India, was said to have been discovered in the early 16th century, a massive octagonal crystal weighing over 300 carats. Historical accounts from Venetian merchants and Portuguese traders often mentioned a great white light from the Indian subcontinent referencing this very gem. The rough stone journeyed from Golconda to Lisbon, a key port in the burgeoning global trade routes, and then quietly made its way through various hands, each owner hoping to profit from its immense potential. It was an unpolished promise of immense wealth. The Medici family, with their vast financial networks and their keen eye for acquisitions that reinforced their status, became aware of the Star of Golconda through their banking connections in Antwerp, a major European center for diamond cutting and trading. Cosimo I, ever strategic, saw the stone not just as a valuable asset, but as a symbol fitting for his new ducal dignity. He dispatched his most trusted agent, a Florentine named Niccolo di Sermonte, to secure the diamond at any cost. Records from the Medici archive, specifically a ledger from 1568, show a payment of 25,000 gold florins for a singular rough stone of great weight and clarity, destined for the Grand Ducal diadem. This sum represented an immense fortune at the time. Upon its arrival in Florence, the Star of Golconda underwent a transformation. Cosimo I entrusted its cutting and polishing to a master gem cutter from Antwerp, a certain Jan van Eyck, no relation to the painter, who was lured to Florence with a lucrative contract and the promise of Medici patronage. The cutting process was arduous and fraught with risk. Van Eyck spent nearly a year studying the rough stone, meticulously planning each facet to maximize its brilliance and minimize loss. He employed a revolutionary technique for the time, using diamond dust to grind and polish the surface, a closely guarded secret. The Grand Ducal workshops, typically known for their intricate pietra dura, were converted into a secure, heavily guarded facility for this delicate operation. The finished diamond, nearly half its original rough weight, possessed an exceptional clarity and a scintillating fire. Its cushion cut, with its rounded corners and brilliant facets, allowed light to enter and refract in a dazzling display. Unlike many diamonds of the era, which often carried a yellow tint, the Star of Golconda was renowned for its D color grading, indicating absolute colorlessness, a true rarity for stones of its size from the Golconda mines. A contemporary description from Giorgio Vasari, in a letter to a friend, remarked on the unbelievable purity of the Florentine star, a drop of solidified light that seems to defy earthly origin. The diamond was then carefully set into the very center of the Grand Ducal crown. The crown itself was a magnificent piece made of pure gold, adorned with an additional array of smaller diamonds, rubies, and emeralds, all intricately placed. However, the Star of Golconda dominated the entire composition, positioned at the apex, just above the central fleur-de-lis, the symbol of the Florentine Republic, which Cosimo now ruled as sovereign. The setting was designed to hold the diamond securely, while allowing maximum light exposure, held by delicate gold prongs that seemed to melt into the stone itself. The first public appearance of the Grand Ducal crown, with the Star of Golconda blazing at its summit, was at Cosimo I's formal investiture as Grand Duke in Rome at the hands of Pope Pius V. This event, carefully orchestrated by the Medici, was a declaration to all of Europe. The diamond, catching the sunlight, would have been an undeniable beacon of Medici power and wealth. Subsequent portraits of Cosimo, the first and later Grand Dukes, often depicted them wearing the crown, with the central diamond always highlighted, serving as a powerful visual emblem. A painting by Alessandro Allori, commissioned in the 1570s, shows Cosimo I in profile, the crown and its central diamond angled to catch the light, drawing the viewer's eye directly to the magnificent stone. The Duke's crown jewel became an inseparable part of the Medici dynastic identity. It was passed down through generations of Grand Dukes, each bearing the same testament to their family's enduring influence and prestige. During times of financial strain, while other jewels might be pawned or sold, the Duke's crown jewel remained untouchable, a sacred symbol of their sovereignty. Its fate beyond the direct Medici line is a complex tale involving European royalty and state treasuries, each custodian recognizing its immense historical and material value. Number 3. The Isabella Garnet Parure. The Isabella Garnet Parure was a matching set of jewels, a necklace, a pair of earrings, and a bracelet, crafted from exceptionally large and intensely colored garnets, specifically almandine garnets, known for their deep, blood-red hue. This parure, meaning a set of matching jewelry, was created around 1575 for Isabella de' Medici, daughter of Cosimo I and Eleonora di Toledo. Isabella was renowned for her beauty, intellect, and independent spirit, and the parure was designed to reflect her fiery personality and her status within the powerful Medici court. The garnets used in this set were of a size and saturation rarely seen, rumored to have been sourced from ancient mines in Bohemia, a region then just beginning to yield such specimens to European markets. The necklace, the centerpiece of the parure, was a substantial piece designed to lie close to the throat, a style popular in the late Renaissance. It consisted of 13 perfectly matched, oval-cut almandine garnets, each stone measuring approximately 1 inch in length and 3/4 of an inch in width. Each garnet was set in a delicate, open-backed gold frame, allowing light to pass through the stone and illuminate its rich color. The gold itself was of the highest purity, often referred to as fine gold in contemporary inventories, and was intricately worked into a series of stylized florets and acanthus leaves characteristic of Florentine Renaissance goldsmithing. Small, round pearls, freshwater pearls from Scottish rivers, were interspersed between each garnet, providing a soft contrast to the deep red. A record from the Grand Ducal Treasury notes the cost of the necklace's goldwork alone as exceeding that of a small villa, indicating the level of detail and craftsmanship. The earrings were long, pendant drops designed to sway with movement, drawing attention to the wearer's neck and shoulders. Each earring featured a single large, pear-shaped garnet, slightly smaller than those in the necklace but equally vibrant in color, measuring about 3/4 of an inch in length. Above the pear-shaped garnet, a cluster of 3 smaller round garnets was set, forming a small, stylized trefoil motif attached by a delicate gold chain to the ear wire. The settings for the earrings mirrored the intricate goldwork of the necklace, reinforcing the cohesive design of the parure. The bracelet was a series of 7 oval-cut garnets, mirroring the size and cut of the necklace stones, each linked by segments of the same finely wrought gold and pearl chain. It was designed to fit snugly around the wrist, a visible declaration of wealth and taste. The clasp of the bracelet was ingeniously hidden within one of the gold florets, a testament to the anonymous master goldsmith's skill. Isabella was often depicted in portraits, wearing at least one element of this parure. A portrait by Alessandro Alori, painted after 1575, shows Isabella with the necklace prominently displayed, its deep red color contrasting with her pale skin and dark hair. The Isabella garnet parure was not merely a collection of beautiful stones. It was entwined with Isabella's life story, which was marked by both privilege and tragedy. Married young to Paolo Giordano Orsini, Duca Bracciano, Isabella maintained her intellectual and social independence, often hosting her own salon and engaging in scholarly pursuits. The parure was frequently worn by her during important court functions, diplomatic receptions, and family gatherings. Its striking color and substantial size made it impossible to overlook. A visitor to the Florentine court in 1578 noted in his journal that the Lady Isabella shined brighter than any star, her neck aflame with the deepest rubies, though I am told they were but garnets, yet of such fire. The tragic circumstances surrounding Isabella's death in 1576, officially recorded as an accident, but widely believed to be an honor killing orchestrated by her husband, cast a somber shadow over the parure. After her death, the jewels remained within the Medici treasury, no longer associated with her vibrant presence but as a poignant reminder of her life. For a period, the parure was not openly worn by other Medici women, perhaps out of respect, or a lingering association with the tragic events. Inventory records from 1580 list the garnet parure of the late Duchess Isabella as kept separate in the private vault. Later, elements of the parure were sometimes worn individually by other Medici women, though rarely as a complete set. Grand Duchess Christina of Lorraine, wife of Ferdinando I, was known to wear the necklace on occasion, perhaps to assert continuity or to demonstrate the family's enduring wealth. However, its association with Isabella remains strong in family lore. The quality of the garnets, their flawless cut and intense color, ensured the parure's lasting legacy even after its original wearer was gone. It became a piece that spoke of both beauty and the unforgiving nature of power and societal expectations within the Renaissance elite. The Isabella Garnet Parure stands as a testament to the Medici's unparalleled ability to acquire and commission objects of profound beauty, objects that became inextricably linked to the lives of those who owned them. Number 4, the Star of Arno ring. The Star of Arno ring was a formidable piece of jewelry, a personal statement worn by Cosimo I of Medici, designed to command attention and convey authority with a single glance. Created around 1555, during a period when Cosimo was consolidating his power and transforming Florence into a Grand Duchy, the ring featured an exceptionally rare and large star sapphire as its central stone. Star sapphires are unique for their asterism, a star-like phenomenon that appears on the surface of the gemstone when illuminated by a single light source, caused by reflections from needle-like inclusions within the stone. The Star of Arno, named for the river that flows through Florence, was a blue so deep it was almost black in subdued light, yet it erupted with a sharp, six-rayed star when touched by direct sunlight or candlelight. The sapphire itself weighed an astonishing 68 carats, an immense size for a star sapphire of such clarity and color saturation. It was discovered in the gem fields of Sri Lanka, then known as Ceylon, a remote source accessed through perilous sea voyages and intricate trade networks dominated by Portuguese and later Dutch merchants. Reports from a Portuguese explorer, Fernão Mendes Pinto, in 1540 described a mountain of light, a sapphire as large as a pigeon's egg, found near the great river, a likely reference to the rough stone that would become the Star of Arno. The Medici acquired the rough sapphire through a complex series of transactions involving their banking agents in Lisbon and Antwerp, paying a sum that was deemed exorbitant even by their own standards, as noted in a 1553 expenditure ledger for the blue stone of Ceylon, payment of 15,000 ducats to the agents in Lisbon. The rough sapphire was brought to Florence and entrusted to Gasparo Mola, a renowned sculptor and goldsmith who later became the head of the Grand Ducal Mint. And Mola was tasked not just with cutting the stone, a process requiring extreme precision to bring out the asterism, but also with designing a setting that would enhance its unique properties. The sapphire was cut and cabochon, meaning it was polished into a smooth, rounded dome rather than faceted, a technique essential for revealing the star effect. Mola's challenge was to ensure the dome was perfectly symmetrical and proportioned to the stone's internal structure. The setting for the Star of Arno was equally impressive. It was a heavy, masculine ring fashioned from solid gold, forged to convey strength and permanence. The sapphire was cradled within a thick bezel of polished gold, designed to protect the stone while allowing its full surface to be visible. On either side of the sapphire, Mola incorporated two small, perfectly sculpted golden lions, the symbol of Florence, their miniature forms seemingly guarding the precious stone. The lions' eyes were tiny, brilliant cut diamonds, providing a subtle sparkle that highlighted the star of the sapphire. The band of the ring was wide and unadorned, emphasizing the central stone, giving the piece a monumental feel. Cosimo I wore the Star of Arno ring almost constantly, particularly during public appearances, diplomatic meetings, and important state ceremonies. It was more than an adornment. It was a non-verbal cue, a silent declaration of his authority. When he raised his hand to gesture or sign a document, the star within the sapphire would flash, catching the eye and drawing attention to the Duke himself. Contemporary accounts often mention the ring. A dispatch from the Venetian ambassador to Florence in 1560 described Cosimo I as bearing a sapphire upon his finger, the very heavens captured within its depths, shining like a guiding star upon his hand. The ring was not just a symbol of Cosimo's personal power, but also of his astute understanding of optics and the nascent scientific interest in natural phenomena. The star effect in the sapphire was a source of fascination and wonder, often discussed by scholars and artists at the Medici court. Cosimo himself was known to show the ring to visitors, demonstrating how the star appeared and vanished with the change in light, often linking it to his own destiny and the fate of Florence. It was a conversation piece, but one that subtly underscored the Medici's connections to rare global resources and their patronage of exceptional artistry. After Cosimo I's death, the Star of Arno ring was kept within the private collection of the Grand Dukes, passed down through his successors. It was not frequently worn by subsequent Medici rulers, perhaps due to its highly personal association with Cosimo I, or perhaps because its sheer size made it less suitable for everyday wear. However, it was catalogued meticulously in the Medici Treasury inventories, often listed as the Great Blue Star of the Founder, indicating its revered status. Its immense value and unique optical phenomenon ensured its preservation through centuries, a testament to the enduring allure of rare gemstones and the power they could convey. The Star of Arno ring stands as a quiet but potent reminder of the Medici's extraordinary reach and their ability to harness the beauty of the natural world to augment their formidable influence. Number 5. The Phoenix Rising Necklace. The Phoenix Rising Necklace was a breathtaking display of artistic ambition and gemstone brilliance commissioned by Ferdinando I de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany, around 1590. This opulent piece was designed to symbolize resurrection, renewal, and the enduring power of the Medici dynasty, themes close to Ferdinando's heart after he renounced his cardinalate to take the ducal throne. The necklace was not merely a collection of valuable stones, it was a narrative in jewels depicting a mythical phoenix, wings outstretched emerging from flames. It comprised a significant number of diamonds and sapphires, with smaller rubies creating the fiery effect. The centerpiece of the necklace was the phoenix itself, a large pendant measuring approximately 5 inches in height and 4 inches in width. The body of the phoenix was formed from a single, exceptionally large, oval cut sapphire, weighing an estimated 45 carats. The sapphire, of a deep velvety blue, was sourced from the Kashmir region, renowned for producing sapphires of unparalleled color and purity. Historical accounts from the jewel market in Venice in the late 16th century mentioned a great blue eye from the north, seeking a master worthy of its gaze, hinting at the acquisition of this very stone by Medici agents. The phoenix's outstretched wings were meticulously crafted from hundreds of smaller, brilliant cut diamonds ranging from 1 to 3 carats each. These diamonds, sourced from Golconda, were set closely together in platinum-plated gold, a technique that allowed the metal to recede and emphasize the continuous shimmer of the stones, giving the illusion of feathered wings catching the light. The platinum plating, a rare and innovative technique for the time, was done to enhance the whiteness of the diamonds. The phoenix's head and beak were formed from miniature diamonds, with 2 tiny cabochon-cut rubies for eyes, imparting a fierce, watchful gaze. Below the phoenix, representing the flames from which it arose, were clusters of fiery red rubies and smaller tear-shaped diamonds. These rubies, vivid and intense in color, were primarily from the Mogok Valley in Burma, another remote and highly coveted source. They were cut in various shapes, oval, round, and pair and set in an overlapping fashion to create a chaotic, dynamic impression of flames. The arrangement of the stones was so skillful that it seemed to flicker with movement, a true testament to the Florentine goldsmiths and gem-setters of the Grand Ducal workshops. An entry in Ferdinando I's personal inventory of 1595 described it as the bird of rebirth, consuming light, crafted from the finest earth stars and blood drops. The main chain of the necklace was equally elaborate, designed to support the heavy pendant while adding to its grandeur. It was a graduated chain composed of alternating clusters of smaller diamonds and sapphires, each cluster meticulously arranged to reflect light. The sapphires in the chain were of a slightly lighter blue than the central phoenix, creating a harmonious color gradient. The total weight of diamonds in the necklace, including the phoenix and the chain, was estimated to exceed 300 carats, while the sapphires and rubies combined added another 100 carats. This made the Phoenix Rising necklace one of the most valuable single pieces of jewelry ever commissioned by the Medici. The Phoenix Rising necklace was a highly ceremonial piece worn by Ferdinando I on occasions of great state importance, such as diplomatic receptions, papal visits, and the weddings of his children. It was a tangible symbol of his family's resilience and their enduring influence, a powerful visual declaration of their right to rule. A detailed contemporary engraving of Ferdinando I by Antonio Tempesta shows him wearing the necklace, the phoenix pendant resting prominently on his chest, its brilliance almost overwhelming the other elements of his attire. The necklace was also a testament to the Medici's network of international trade and their ability to command the finest materials and artistic talent from across the globe. Acquiring such a large collection of rare and high-quality diamonds, sapphires, and rubies from distant mines required immense financial resources and political leverage. The design itself, incorporating a complex allegorical motif with such a vast array of precious stones, demonstrated the sophisticated artistic sensibilities of the Florentine court. The Phoenix Rising necklace was not just a piece of jewelry, it was a masterwork of Renaissance art, a triumph of human ingenuity and desire for lasting legacy. After Ferdinando I, the necklace continued to be part of the Grand Ducal regalia, sometimes worn by subsequent Grand Dukes or even by Grand Duchesses on very rare formal occasions when the message of renewal was deemed paramount. It remained in the Medici treasury until the extinction of the main Medici line, its historical significance and immense material value ensuring its careful preservation. Its story echoes the Medici's own narrative, a family that rose from obscurity, faced challenges, and always sought to assert its enduring power and influence, much like the mythical bird of rebirth. Number 6. The Tears of Venus Tiara. The Tears of Venus tiara was a breathtaking creation composed entirely of pearls, designed to be worn by the Medici Grand Duchesses. Commissioned around 1540 by Cosimo, the first de Medici, for his wife, Eleonora di Toledo, this tiara was a testament to the period's obsession with pearls, considered symbols of purity, wealth, and sophisticated elegance. The tiara was not studded with other gemstones. Its beauty lay solely in the remarkable quality, size, and sheer quantity of the pearls, giving it an ethereal, almost luminous appearance. The collection of pearls was so extensive and perfectly matched that it was whispered they were. The Tears of Venus herself wept for Adonis. The tiara was constructed on a lightweight, flexible gold framework designed to be almost invisible, allowing the pearls to appear as if floating. It was a bandeau-style tiara, narrow at the sides and rising gently to a central peak, perfectly suited to the hairstyles of the mid-16th century. The framework was intricately pierced with tiny holes, allowing the pearls to be threaded and secured with delicate gold wire, creating a seamless, organic pattern. The total number of pearls used in the tiara exceeded 200, each one meticulously selected for its luster, spherical shape, and consistent creamy white color. The largest pearls, numbering 27 in total, formed the main visible row across the tiara's front. These pearls ranged in size from approximately half an inch to nearly 3/4 of an inch in diameter, with the largest one positioned at the central apex. These exceptional pearls were all natural pearls, painstakingly harvested from the Persian Gulf, a process fraught with danger for the divers. Records from the Medici banking house indicate specific payments in the 1530s for the acquisition of Gulf tears of the finest water, destined for a bridal gift of the highest order. Such large, unblemished natural pearls were incredibly rare and commanded astronomical prices. Smaller pearls, ranging from 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch, were used to fill the spaces between the larger pearls and to create intricate patterns of swirls and loops on the tiara's upper and lower edges. These smaller pearls were often set in clusters of 3 or 5, creating a shimmering texture that caught the light. The overall effect was one of flowing elegance, with the pearls appearing to cascade like delicate drops of water. The craftsmanship was so refined that the tiara, despite its substantial number of pearls, appeared remarkably light and delicate. Eleonora de Toledo, a Spanish noblewoman who brought immense wealth and influence to her marriage with Cosimo I, frequently wore the Tears of Venus tiara. It became her signature piece, prominently featured in many of her portraits. The most famous depiction is likely the iconic portrait by Agnolo Bronzino, painted around 1545. In this painting, Eleonora is depicted wearing the tiara, its luminous pearls contrasting beautifully with her elaborate gown and the dark background. The tiara seemed to emit a soft glow, enhancing her aristocratic bearing and serene expression. A contemporary Florentine fashion critic remarked that the Grand Duchess carries the very moonlight on her brow, her pearls rivaling the stars in their quiet brilliance. The tiara was particularly suited for formal occasions such as state banquets, diplomatic receptions, and church services. Its understated elegance derived from the absence of overtly flashy gemstones, aligned with the Medici's desire to project a sense of refined, enduring wealth rather than ostentatious display. It was a subtle yet undeniable demonstration of their immense resources and connections to global trade routes. Pearls, unlike faceted gems, do not sparkle. Instead, they possess a unique orient, a soft, iridescent glow that shifts with the light, creating an aura of delicate luxury. Beyond its aesthetic appeal, the Tears of Venus tiara symbolize the purity and grace of the Grand Duchess, reflecting the virtues expected of a consort, and a tangible representation of her role as the mother of the future Medici line and the embodiment of Florentine elegance. After Eleonora's death, the tiara continued to be worn by subsequent Grand Duchesses, including Bianca Capello and Christina of Lorraine, though its primary association remained with Eleonora, the first Grand Duchess to wear it. It was kept meticulously in the Medici Treasury vaults, wrapped in silk, ensuring its preservation through generations. The enduring quality of natural pearls, when properly cared for, allowed the tiara to maintain its beauty for centuries. The Tears of Venus tiara stands as a remarkable example of Renaissance pearl jewelry, a piece that captured the essence of light, purity, and the immense wealth of the Medici. Number 7. The Lion of Florence pendant. The Lion of Florence pendant was a monumental piece of jewelry, a powerful emblem of the Medici family's dominance, and a direct reference to the heraldic lion of Florence, the Marzocco. Commissioned by Lorenzo the Magnificent around 1485, during the height of his unofficial rule, and the Medici's golden age, this pendant was meant to be a direct and unmistakable symbol of Florentine power and artistic excellence. It featured an extraordinarily large and perfectly carved ruby as its central element, unlike any seen before in Europe. The ruby itself was so large that it was described in contemporary accounts as a solidified drop of dragon's blood. The ruby, known as the Blood of Tuscany, weighed an astonishing 212 carats, making it one of the largest and most valuable rubies ever acquired by the Medici. Its origin was shrouded in tales of distant lands. It was believed to have come from the legendary Mogok Valley in Burma, a source known for producing rubies of unparalleled pigeon's blood red. Lorenzo acquired the ruby through a complex series of transactions involving Venetian merchants who traded extensively with the East. A detailed ledger from the Medici Bank dated 1483 lists a payment to a Master Marco of Venice for the great red stone from the Orient, for the sum of 18,000 gold florins, a sum equivalent to the annual income of a small principality. The ruby was not faceted in the typical European style. Instead, Lorenzo entrusted its carving to an anonymous master gem engraver, possibly a northern Italian or German artisan who had learned the intricate art of intaglio and cameo carving. The ruby was meticulously carved into the form of a majestic lion, standing rampant, its mouth open in a roar, its tail curled in defiance. The detail was extraordinary. Individual strands of the mane, the powerful muscles of the legs, and the fierce expression were all rendered within the stone's lustrous depth. The carving alone took over 2 years to complete, a testament to the skill and patience required. The carving's precision was such that light seemed to move within the ruby as the pendant shifted, giving the lion a lifelike quality. The setting for the Lion of Florence pendant was equally grand, designed to frame and protect the precious carved ruby while adding to its regal appearance. It was fashioned from heavy, pure gold, intricately worked with Florentine lily motifs and delicate scrollwork. The pendant measured approximately 6 inches in height and 5 inches in width, a truly commanding size. Surrounding the carved ruby lion, a border of smaller, brilliant cut diamonds sourced from Golconda was meticulously set, creating a sparkling halo that emphasized the ruby's vibrant red. Below the ruby, a single, large, perfectly spherical pearl was suspended, serving as a drop. This pearl was known as the Tear of the Sea, a tribute to its origin from the deep waters of the Persian Gulf. Lorenzo the Magnificent wore the Lion of Florence pendant on only the most significant occasions, often suspended from a heavy gold chain that rested on his chest above his robes. It was a highly visible symbol of his family's unofficial but undeniable rule over Florence and their profound connection to the city's identity. When he hosted foreign dignitaries or met with powerful figures, the pendant would serve as an immediate declaration of his status and the wealth he commanded. Accounts from ambassadors and visitors to the Florentine court often mentioned the great ruby lion that adorned Lorenzo. A letter from an envoy of the Duchy of Milan in 1488 described the Lord Lorenzo wearing the very beast of Florence upon his breast, fashioned of the reddest stone, a sight to behold and remember. The pendant was not merely an ornament, it was a diplomatic tool. It conveyed a message of strength and sophistication without the need for words. And its unique carving and the sheer size of the ruby spoke volumes about the Medici's resources, their artistic patronage, and their discerning taste. The Lion of Florence pendant was seen as a reflection of Lorenzo's own character, bold, intelligent, and fiercely protective of his city and family. After Lorenzo's death, the pendant remained a prized possession of the Medici family. It was passed down through generations of Grand Dukes, always carefully preserved in the Medici Treasury. Though subsequent generations of Medici rulers might have worn it less frequently than Lorenzo, its symbolic power never diminished. It was always understood as the ultimate embodiment of Medici power and the family's enduring connection to the spirit of Florence. The Lion of Florence pendant stands as an exceptional example of Renaissance gem carving and goldsmithing, a unique piece that combined immense material value with profound civic and dynastic symbolism, a true masterpiece of the Medici treasury. Number 8. The Serpent's Eye Brooch. The Serpent's Eye Brooch was a legendary piece within the Medici treasury, renowned not just for its breathtaking beauty, but for the lore and mystique that surrounded its central stone. It's commissioned by Caterina Sforza, a formidable and independent figure known as the Tigress of Forli, around 1490. This brooch was later acquired by the Medici family through a complex political maneuver that solidified their power in the Romagna region. The brooch featured an extraordinary emerald of immense size and a color so vivid, it was described as a pool of liquid spring. The tales linked to its origin spoke of ancient curses and the eyes of mythical beasts. The central emerald of the Serpent's Eye Brooch was a colossal cabochon cut stone weighing approximately 120 carats. Its deep, intense green hue was exceptionally rare, possessing a clarity that was almost unheard of for an emerald of its size. The stone was believed to have originated from the legendary Muzo mines in Colombia, a source that was only beginning to be systematically explored by the Spanish in the late 15th century. This particular emerald was rumored to have been part of the spoils from an ancient Inca temple, acquired through a perilous journey across the Atlantic and then through the complex networks of the Venetian spice and gem trade. A cryptic entry in an old Venetian shipping manifest from 1488 mentions a green heart from the New World, purchased at great peril, bound for the Italian states. Caterina Sforza, known for her strong will and her penchant for dramatic gestures, acquired the emerald specifically for this brooch. She entrusted its design and creation to a master goldsmith in Forli, whose name has been lost to history but whose skill was evidently exceptional. The brooch was conceived as a stylized serpent, its body coiled in an elegant spiral, culminating in the emerald eye. The serpent's body was fashioned from intricately textured gold, giving the impression of scales. Tiny, brilliant, cut diamonds, likely from Golconda, were meticulously set into the gold to create a shimmering pattern along the serpent's spine and tail, catching the light with every movement. The emerald, serving as the serpent's eye, was set in a raised bezel, allowing its full, rounded surface to be visible. The master goldsmith crafted miniature golden eyelids, subtly curved, that partially framed the emerald, enhancing its likeness to a living eye. A tiny, forked tongue, made of polished ruby, emerged from the serpent's mouth, adding a touch of vibrant contrast to the deep green and shimmering gold. The brooch measured approximately 4 inches in length and 3 inches in width, a substantial piece designed to be worn prominently on the breast or shoulder. Caterina Sforza wore the serpent's eye brooch frequently, particularly during her military campaigns and diplomatic negotiations. It was more than an adornment. It was a potent symbol of her cunning, her watchfulness, and her formidable power. The serpent's eye became a metaphor for her keen intelligence and her ability to outmaneuver her enemies. A contemporary chronicler, Niccolò Machiavelli, who observed Caterina, remarked on her emerald gaze, ever watchful, like the very beast that guarded the Medici's stolen treasures. This reference, though potentially a later interpolation, highlights the brooch's symbolic weight. The brooch's transition into the Medici treasury is a story steeped in political intrigue. Following Caterina Sforza's fall from power and the siege of Forli by Cesare Borgia in 1500, the brooch, among her other treasures, was taken as spoils of war. It eventually found its way into the hands of the Medici through a series of alliances and negotiations, likely involving Giovanni delle Bandinere, Caterina's son, and a renowned military leader who was closely associated with the Medici. By the mid-16th century, the serpent's eye brooch was firmly established in the Medici collection, listed in the inventories of Cosimo I de' Medici, attributed to its illustrious previous owner. Within the Medici treasury, the brooch continued to carry its aura of mystique. While its precise origins as an Inca treasure were largely forgotten or embellished, its association with Caterina Sforza and her dramatic life ensured its legendary status. It was often displayed as an example of a captured jewel, representing the Medici's ultimate triumph over their rivals and their ability to absorb even the most formidable symbols of independent power. The serpent's eye brooch was sparingly worn by Medici Grand Duchesses, typically for specific ceremonial occasions where a statement of shrewdness and vigilance was desired. Its striking appearance and the legends attached to it ensured its continued prominence within the family's collection of priceless jewels.